Okay, if you watched the tutorial on how to interpret the NFL FanAd numbers, you can skip the next part of this video, the next 10 minutes, and just fast forward to the analysis for the current week at just shortly after the 10-minute mark. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is this is going to be a fairly in-depth explanation of how to use these FanAd NFL indicators. And so it's not a professional video, you know, it might be a few ums and ahs, but I want to take you through, and if you haven't watched this whole thing, we strongly recommend you do so, because then you can do your interpretation yourself and you don't have to rely on me. First thing I'll point out is that we've got all these numbers we have one for the full team power rating. That just takes all the stats, the quarterback ratings, the running back, wide receiver, tight end, defense, and everything. It just kind of brings them all together and gives you a team number. The lower the higher the better. Blue is always good.
You're my boy, Blue!
And red is always bad. Black is neutral. So we've got a power rating for the team, a power rating for the quarterback alone, a power rating for the running backs, a power rating for the wide receivers, which also includes the tight ends, and a power rating for the team defense. Now, before I go any further there, and we're going to assume this is an actual contest, so we'll kind of go through and show you how we would use these numbers, how we would interpret them to come up with our lineups and our, you know, what players we're going to use, or what teams we're going to use players from. But I want to just jump over here, and again, this is going to be very informal, but I want to jump over and show you a little bit of the stats and the data that go behind these into the algorithm that create these power ratings.
Some of that secret sauce.
So if I jump over here to my spreadsheet, again, this is going to be fairly informal. So here you see all these numbers, and we spent a good year and a half or 2 years putting these numbers together and putting these algorithms together. But you can see that if I just scroll around here, we take each matchup for the week, and it pulls in, you know, how the defense does, how the offense does, how many interceptions, how many fumbles, the quarterback ranking, pass yards, rush yards, all that information for each team, and it creates a power ranking or power number that then comes out and goes into. So again, if I've got other, you know, there's other tabs in here, there's more data, but you can kind of get a good idea. There's just a lot of data that goes into it. So the value of using this FanAd for creating your weekly lineups is that you don't have to do all this research. We do it all for you.
Okay, I'll make it as easy for you as I can.
And the FanAd comes out in a nice format with these numbers based on all that data. So again, let's go through here now and assume these games are in a contest that we're going to enter on FanDuel. Let's just assume we're going to enter one on FanDuel. And we're going to first of all go through and try to find our quarterback. Now you can see here that we've got 2 power ratings for each position. We've got a power rating that has the 2016 and 17 stats, and we've got a power rating that has only the 2017 stats. The reason that's important, at least early in the season, is that we don't have a lot of data for to put into 2017. There's only then, if this is week 2 as we record this, we've only got data from week 1, whereas last year we got data from all the 16 weeks. The problem with last year's data is things have changed, right? Teams have drafted new players, they've traded players, they maybe have different quarterback in some cases, so it could be misleading. So we're going to give you, at least for a while, we're going to give you both the combined 2016-17 and then the 2017 only.
Are we clear?
So if we now the idea here is to try to gain separation. Again, you want to get separation from the other people that are going to be entering the contest. So if you're just putting in Captain Obvious bets,
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
everyone else is going to have the same bets, or the same teams, the same players. So you want to try to find separation. So what we do is we go through and find a quarterback. Obviously, again, we're focusing on blue. So we've got a blue 244 here, which is great. Let's go down. Here's a couple. These are really good power ratings for the quarterback, and we got a 236 here. So we would obviously avoid, anything with red PR numbers and black. There's enough blue where we don't have to consider anything that's black, that's neutral. So our quarterbacks are going to be chosen from either the LA Rams, Green Bay, Atlanta, or Detroit. And we'll just table that for now. So let's go through and look at our running backs. Again, all this is red, So we're not interested in any running backs this week. Again, these will change. If for instance, if Washington were facing a different team, those power ratings would be different. This is based on how these teams will face each other today, or whatever day we're playing. So we're not interested in anything in red for the running back. We've got right here. We've got a 213. Came down a little bit for just 2017 alone data. So, but it's still, that's pretty good. There's not a whole lot of blue here, so we don't really have a whole lot to choose from. We've got for 2017, we've got Detroit. Their running backs did pretty well the first week. 187 black for other weeks, so we wouldn't be interested. So this is pretty difficult, but
Of course, I'm not right about doing things.
it looks to be that we would take our running backs from Seattle and probably from Detroit. Take a running back from each one of those teams, or maybe you want to take two from Seattle and just hope that one of them does well, so you don't have to worry about not picking the right one. Let's go to wide receivers. Again, red, not interested. Here's some really high. I mean, 299 and 270, 299 for 2017. So the LA Rams look pretty good for wide receivers and tight ends. Again, not interested here. We just skip right over the red stuff. We don't need to deal with it. Here is neutral, and then for 2017 they both went red, so probably wouldn't be that interested. But down here we've got, for Detroit, we've got really good power ratings for the wide receivers for Detroit. So we would take wide receivers from the LA Rams and wide receivers from Detroit. Finally, we come down over here and we look at the defenses. So this one we're not interested in. It came down in 2017. It wasn't even good in 2016. The Rams defense is good. We consider that. San Francisco and Seattle both have good defensive numbers. We could consider both Green Bay. Well, actually, we won't. We'll take these out because they have neutral for 2016-17. They both came up for 17, but that's just one game's data, like I mentioned. And then you've got Detroit, who's got a good both last year and this year for the one game. So the defenses, we could go with either the Rams, San Francisco, Seattle, or Detroit. So if you're putting multiple entries in, you just mix and match those up. So again, let's back up and look at our quarterbacks. We would probably put in, if we were entering this contest, we'd probably put in 4 entries. One with the Rams quarterback, one with the Green Bay quarterback, one with Atlanta quarterback, and one with Detroit quarterback. On all those entries, we put in running backs from Seattle and probably from Detroit. And on all those entries, we put in receivers from the Rams and from Detroit. Now that's kind of interesting, a little bit contradictory there. If you look at Detroit, you're using a running back and wide receiver. We might just say, okay, this isn't that great a rating. It's only one game. It was 187, so we might take it out. We actually might put both Seattle starting running backs in on all the entries because they look, they don't have great, their wide receiver ratings are bad, so they'll probably use their running backs. So let's just adjust that and update that. We're going to put both Seattle running backs in this contest. Wide receivers we're going to use from the Rams and from Detroit. And our defense, we're either going to use the Rams, San Francisco, Seattle, or Detroit.
Are you doing that on purpose? Or can't you make up your mind?
And we probably would just pick the best one, even though there's not a lot of separation, which would be the Rams, and go with that. So I think I'm going to end it there. Hopefully that gives you a good idea how to interpret these numbers.
Did that go the way you thought it was going to go?
I should go back here and just talk about the team rating because we didn't use that at all in our analysis. Because that's more, probably the team rating is best used if you're betting Vegas style. So if you're putting in a bet in Vegas for the over-under or the winning team, you'd probably want to look for, so let's say we're going to bet the winning team. We'd probably look for a red versus a blue and pick the blue. So in this case, we take the Rams. Down here, this is another good one. We'd probably take Detroit against the Giants. If you come down here and look at these, you got a high blue and a low red so you take Detroit to win. If you're looking to bet an over, you'd look for games where you have both teams are red. If you want to bet an under, you look for a team that has both teams that are blue. So there, I'll leave it. Hopefully that was valuable to you, and using this data, using these power ratings, hopefully you'll get some separation. You can do the analysis yourself, and you don't have to rely on me every week to do it for you. Good luck in all your contests, and we'll do the analysis for each week. Usually on Thursday, we'll get that to you, hopefully by around noon. Okay, NFL fan ad video for week 2. Before we get into it, we're going to recap week 1. Here's a contest that we entered on FanDuel. Entered 4 entries at $4, $16 investment. We broke even, got 16 back, but we ended up finishing, a little over 4,000 out of 75,000 plus. So not a bad placing, considering the number of entries, which are a lot more than the fantasy baseball. Here's another contest we entered. We did a little better here in week 1. We invested $24, got 44 back, so we got $20 profit.
Navin, you have taken in $15, which gives us a net profit of $14.50.
We were 8,000 out of 252,000. Okay, so let's analyze these 2 games. These are actually in a late contest on Sunday, Monday on FanDuel. So we're going to analyze these 2. Below this video, I want to point out that if you want the full NFL fan ad for week 2, click on the red button. And below that, if you submit your email address, we'll send you these 2 games plus 2 bonus games for free. And if you're watching this on YouTube, click in the description under the video. There's a link that you can click on to get to a page where you can get both of those. So let's look at these 2 games and let's find our quarterback. We always start with we don't start, we go with the PR. We use the power ratings, which are these numbers. So we start with our quarterback. Let's look at the PR numbers for the quarterback. A lot of blue here, so you can take either Green Bay or Atlanta quarterback. These numbers here are for 2017 only, so Atlanta quarterback has remained the same, so has Green Bay. So they're both good quarterbacks. And then probably Detroit. Detroit, quarterback at a 233 for 2016-17, inched up to a 236. And if you use Green Bay, you're going to pay a high price because Green Bay quarterback Rodgers is going to be the highest price.
250.
250.
If you want to save some money,
by bringing my own snacks, I save at least another $10.
you probably should go with either Atlanta or Detroit because you can get a little bit of a price break. So what we're probably going to do is put in 3 entries: one with Green Bay quarterback, one with Atlanta quarterback, one with Detroit quarterback. Then we go to our running backs, and we always look for just high PR numbers. Red, we're not interested in, so we're not even going to consider these 2 for running backs or these 2. So our running backs are going to come from Detroit and or Green Bay, maybe 1 from each. Our wide receivers, again, red, we're not really interested in. Blue, we'll take wide receivers from Detroit. These are neutral, so I think we'll put a couple wide receivers from Detroit, maybe just fill it out with a tight end and wide receivers from Green Bay and Atlanta. Our defense that we're going to use is either going to be, here again, without the data for 2016 and 17, these defenses are neutral. They inched up into the blue category for just 1 game of 2017. Our defense here is outstanding, so last year and this year. So we're going to use Detroit probably as our defense. Obviously, we wouldn't be interested in the Giants with these bad ratings. So just to summarize, 1 entry with Green Bay quarterback, 1 entry with the Atlanta quarterback, 1 entry with Detroit quarterback, running backs from Detroit and Green Bay, wide receivers from Detroit, maybe a couple from Green Bay and Atlanta, and Detroit defense.
Are we clear?
Crystal.
We'll close it out there. Our confidence level, just because it's really early in the year, we don't have a lot of data yet for 2017, so until week 5 or so, our confidence level is always going to be fairly low, so we're at between a 2 and a 3. Again, click the red button below this video. You can get all the games for the whole card, NFL card for week 2, and submit your email address below that. We'll send you these 2 games plus 2 bonus games for free. If you're watching on YouTube, click the link in the description below the video, and you'll come to a page where you can get both of those. Good luck, and we'll be back at you for week 3 next Thursday.